Hey everybody, this is Guile, and today we're going to be talking about Marvel Rivals team comps. Now this topic was actually inspired by my rank grind. I am right now in Diamond 2, but I am getting... Uh, well, you know what? We'll talk about that at a different time. Um, I was inspired to make this video because I think that there's a lot of different ideas when it comes to how to construct a team in this game and what is ideal, what is strongest. And for this video, I'm actually using stat tracking coming from the rivalstracker.com website. And you should also consider that while we're going to be talking about these stats, they may not be perfect, but we're trying to look at trends. And while the numbers may not be perfect, they may not tell the entire story, they do tell a little bit of a story. So we should take that into consideration. So what I want to do, these are going to be competitive matches that this stat tracking is coming from here. And we're going to talk about the overall, but then we're going to go into it by the ranks as well. So when we start overall, we're seeing that in all ranks here, the highest win rate comes from a standard 2-2-2. Personally, I do believe that this is the way that the game was initially designed. It feels to me that this is the gold standard for Marvel Rivals. Now, I don't think that this is the end all be all, and I don't necessarily think that this is the best comp for every situation. I really don't. But I do think that it is the foundation for the game. And I do think that it's probably the comp that you should be the most comfortable with. It's the comp that you should run the majority of the time, at least to start a game. Because if you run a comp that is naturally imbalanced in some way, it becomes a little bit harder to understand what you need to adjust inside of the game. When you run a split 2-2-2, you start to see what you need to adjust fairly easily. Whereas if you run something like, you know, a 1-3-2 or a 1-2-3, you don't always have the immediate knowledge of, oh, this is exactly what's going on right now. The adjustment that I need to make is this, because you have a little bit of extra imbalance on kind of like your baseline. So in my opinion, the 2-2-2 is the gold standard. After that, on the win rate, we're going to see 1-3-2. I think 1-3-2 is fairly reliable, but I do think that having the solo tank puts a really heavy responsibility on the tank. And as a tank main, by the way, you have to understand that if you are going to solo tank, there are so many dangerous positions that solo tank will put you in as a team, because all it takes is one pick and your tank can be gone, and now your front line is gone. You got a whole lot of squishies and you have nothing to peel or anything like that. For instance, other team has a Bucky. All it takes is one hook. Over here, the third, which we're not going to talk about too much beyond third place here, is the 1-2-3, which is the triple healer meta that was discussed quite a bit. As you see in the win-loss, it's not that high. Now, granted, this is also, as of right now, with the recent healing ult nerfs, we can see that, you know, it's possible that this kind of fell down as a result of that. But it is still top 3. It is still viable inside of the game, and I like that because I want there to be some variety in the game. I want there to be some imbalance. I want there to be legs to the game. I don't want every game to just be 2-2-2 the entire time. But as an overall, you're going to see some of these weird, funky comps here, which I don't think are. I mean, these are memes. These are memes right here. So this is probably stuff you'll see in bronze and silver and stuff like that. People are just screwing around because they can. Let's go down into the ranks. So just keep in mind, 2-2-2 is the highest win rate across the board. 1-3-2 is number 2. There's a bit of a gap here. Like you can see the gap, you know. And then there's again another gap between 2 and 3 when you look at the 1, 2, 3 comp. Let's go into bronze. Bronze, it's really hard to see value in a win-loss in bronze because the pool is just so incredibly large in bronze. But we do see the 1-3-2 has the highest win rate, and the 2-2-2 is number 2, staying above that 50% win rate. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here in bronze because you see that there are still people playing 4 duelists, 2 healers in bronze. So I mean, let's just go ahead and move on from that. Silver, we're also going to see a little bit of weirdness here when we have the stats and we compare it to the overall, because we're still seeing a 1-3-2 at the highest win rate, but not far below it is still the 2-2-2. Silver is still a place where you're going to get a really high pool of people. There's a ton of people inside of silver. This is really just kind of the most basic understanding of playing the game. So there's not a ton that we can glean from this because we're still seeing 4 duelists and 2 strategists at this level here too. But what is kind of interesting is that the top 3, you see the top 3 in the top 3 spots. The order is a little bit different, but you still see at least the top 3. So you're starting to see a little bit of the pattern come out. But now that's when we're seeing from this point on. I'm gonna go ahead and give you spoilers. From this point on, 2-2-2 is going to stay at the top. 2-2-2 is going to have the highest win rate, but surprisingly, it's still pretty close with the 1-3-2 comp that we see really prevalent inside of bronze and also silver. You're actually seeing a little bit of this coming up, and then of course rounding out the 3 is the 1-2-3 comp. But you'll see at this level it's not as successful here. What's really interesting is that the 1-3-2 is kind of close, but it's slowly but surely being passed up as we go up in ranks. Then over here, let's go to platinum, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. The margin gets bigger here as you go up in the experience levels, and then assumedly the skill of the players, the knowledge base of the players as well. As you start to go off, or as you start to go up in that knowledge, experience, ability, you're seeing that the 2-2-2 is now squarely in the lead. There's now a noticeable difference in these win rates. Again, it's not crazy. It's not like it's a 10% change, but this is roughly about 4%. You can see it. It's a fairly noticeable difference. And then again, from the 2 to the 3, here there's a slightly bigger difference. Roughly about a 6% difference here. But at least the top 3 is still staying the same. As we go on into diamond, again, we're keeping that disparity. We're still seeing that the 2-2-2 is staying at the highest. The top 3 is staying in the order, and we're still seeing these gaps in between. Then as we go into Grandmaster, 2-2-2 staying, of course, at the top. Celestial, 2-2-2, and again, these gaps are still here. What's interesting about this is that 2-1-3 actually comes up. This, I have no explanation for that. Not gonna lie to you, I don't know. I'm not in Celestial. I'm in Diamond, so I don't know how to explain this portion because this is a little bit different, but you're still seeing 2-2-2 at the top, and it's still a gap. Over here in Eternity, 2-2-2. 2-1-3 is rising back up, of course, but there's still a gap. And then one above all, I have a feeling that the stat tracking on this is just a little bit weird. But yeah, as I mentioned here, really the biggest thing to take away is that 2-2-2 is the most consistent win rate here in the game. And I like the idea that some of these other comps have a fairly close win rate, but I want to make sure that as people are looking at how they put together their team, that they're understanding that there's a reason why 222 is talked about so much. There's a reason it is the foundation, that it's the gold standard, because it wins. Because it wins. When you are looking at these other levels here, when you're looking at these other comps too, you're seeing that when you're creating imbalance, your win rate's going down. It's I mean, even this 132, it's still an under 50% win rate. So if you're simply going to play the numbers and you're going to say all of us are at an equal skill level, how am I going to give myself the best advantage? Why would I imbalance myself naturally and put myself in a situation where I'm sub 50% win rate right off the bat by nature of how my team is constructed? Why would I do that when I could put myself above a 50% win rate just by nature of the construction of my team, giving myself more balance? And then, you know what? If we do see that there is something that we're lacking, now we can switch to an imbalance to try to take care of what we're lacking. And you know what? If we end up changing the opponent's team comp, and now we can come back to a balanced 2-2-2 and fight it out and have, you know, some more success, why wouldn't you? Why would you start at imbalance and then try to essentially figure it out later by running uphill? You know, why don't we just start level, start balanced, and adjust from there? Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what kind of comps you enjoy running and what you find more successful. Maybe you see the value in a 2-2-2. Maybe you don't. If you don't, tell me why. Tell me what feels stronger with some of these other comps, kind of what inspires that. Thank you for watching this video. If you appreciate it, if you found something helpful, I would highly recommend leaving a like and sharing it with someone that you think might enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.